everybody. Hey, Dirk. Wasn't sure how many people were going to be in here at 6 because it was kind of a last minute change, and you know how I am about announcing that. I did announce it a little bit earlier as soon as I found out that Steve was not going to do his show at 6 tonight. So I'm guessing Dirk saw that at least. So I'm hoping a few other people saw that as well. But I'm glad you love the shirt, Dirk. I was actually a little worried because um, the day that I knew that you got it delivered, um, I think I did a stream, not for that specific reason, but I guess I just assumed you'd be in the stream, and I was gonna say, hey, I hope you like the shirt and all that. And then you weren't in there, so I was a little bit worried. I was like, oh God, did he really hate the shirt? Hey, Darren. But I'm glad you like the stickers too, and I'm hoping that the shirt holds up. Like I said, I know they're not Fright Rags quality shirt, but I do what I can with the equipment that I've got. So if if you hear Steve in the background, he gets a little animated when he's talking to his mom, and they're starting to talk about politics stuff. So you may hear some yelling back there because he gets really upset over that stuff. But anyway, I'll try to I'll try to talk over that. I think he forgets that I'm back here doing a stream, and I may have to put the background up. Just let me put a background up. Just a second, guys. Sorry. Well, he told me he was sorry, but he's still going on about it. I told him, or I asked him, I didn't tell him, I asked him to quit talking politics with his mother. Because nobody, you cannot, you guys know this. Our younger generation is not going to talk sense to the older generation. It's not, we're not going to believe like they do, and they're not going to believe like we do. I've gotten into it with my mom. Her and dad are pretty strict Republicans, and I'm not. So, and he's cussing and carrying on. I don't know when me and him both are going to learn not to talk politics with our parents, especially our mothers. But anyway, I'm going to try to get through this, and hopefully that'll get resolved back there without some screaming match going on. But it's still very distracting. I'm sorry. Um, Dirk, you say, no, I've shown it to a couple people and they said it was badass. Well, send them over my way, Dirk. I'll be glad to make some more shirts. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be um, get rich on it, but you know, it couldn't hurt to have a little extra pocket change. But Texas says she's got Rainbow Bright. Oh, well, thank you, Texas, for calling me Scream Queen. Again, I don't really think I am, but you know, I try. Oh yeah, I hope Dirk's still gonna have his stream for tonight. Dirk, you say I hate politics for that reason. The divides people. My sister and I don't talk because of it. Yeah, it's just I didn't I hung up on my mother, and I feel bad about it now because she was, saying how much she felt bad for Trump, And this is basically when he was on his way out. And I was like, well, I don't feel sorry for him. The guy's a doofus. And she said something, and I said, well, fine, and I hung up. And I don't think I talked to her for a week or two, just because I was upset about it. But I was like, whenever we started talking again, I was like, I'm not gonna let this divide our family. I'm just not gonna talk about it with you, and she's not gonna talk about it with me. Um, yeah, Dirk. I mean, I go along with a lot of the Democratic viewpoints on stuff, but I consider myself more of an independent than anything else. Oh well, Dirk, thank you for doing that, for offering to post it on my Facebook page. Um, so um, I'm going to kind of rattle off some stuff, some housekeeping stuff, and show off something that Steve got for me today. He surprised me with. To give a few more people a little bit of time to get in here before we get started with the movie. It won't be it won't be too awfully long. But the thing I wanted to show that Steve picked me up, I had no idea. He told me he put a new entertainment center today, together today, for us in the living room. And he said he had to go and pick up an adapter cord, to so the HDMI wouldn't have to stretch real far. And so he said he was going to go to Walmart. He ended up having to go to Target. And so I had no idea he was going to get me this. He just got me this out of the blue. And they had the Evil Dead Ultimate Ash figures. I'll just, I'm not planning on taking this one out of the box there. You can see he's got the change-o hands and change-o heads. He's got a lantern and a chainsaw and a shotgun and axe. It looks like, in the tape recorders in there. So yeah, that's it's really cool. So I'll show you the back there. I was worried that and of course it's got the cool horror looking. It looks like one of those video store stickers. Of course, my green screen's messing with it, and you can't really see that it's green. Um, I may have to get up here in a little bit and let some of the dogs in. If you do hear some rumbling, Steve's watching, I think it's the 4K of Last Night in Soho. I don't think he's watched it yet since he got it in. So, hey, Menelect. Uh, Dirk, you say that's awesome. I don't take none of my NECAs out. Well, I have like my Halloween 2 Dr. Loomis and Laurie figures. I did. And I did take out my Tater Sack Jason because I think the Tater Sack Jason box might have been a little bit messed up. But I just don't have as much space to put the whole boxes out there. But in this case, this one I want to keep in the box. And now I kind of wish that I'd kept the Halloween 2 figures in the box and just put them somewhere until I found a place to put them. Because they keep falling off of the shelf over here. I find them in the floor all the time. Um, a creature that I picked up today, for those of you that didn't see on Facebook, my beloved Joe Bob, my parakeet that I was talking about, that had become ill. Uh, that little feller, he hung on for about 4 weeks like this, and I was treating him, and Kane, the other bird, was taking care of him, coming down and feeding him, and I thought he was getting better. Thursday night, because he was still wobbly, he was still unsteady and all that, but he seemed to be eating more on his own and stuff like that. And I'd gotten him some calcium, I was getting it in him, and but for whatever reason, sometime in the early morning hours, he passed away. And when I got up at 5 o'clock with the dogs, um, he had passed away, unfortunately. And so I was really very sad. And Steve offered to take me to get another bird today. Uh, one, so I wouldn't be sad and or as sad, and two, because Kane, the other bird we got for Joe Bob after Joxer passed away, um, I didn't want him to be lonely. And anybody that has had birds of any kind knows that they generally, especially parakeets, like to be in pairs. Now, I'm not so sure about macaws, parrots, and I think cockatiels like to be in pairs as well. Probably canaries, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so we brought him home, but evidently, I mean, he's fine. He seems fine, knock on wood, health wise. And I named him Dario after Dario Argento. So I've got Kane and Dario now. And, but I mean, he seems, Durkee, so you're getting ready for the deer woods? Oh, wow. When I talk to my dad again, I'm going to have to tell him my friend Dirk's getting ready for that. Yeah, I thought I had never named any. At first I was going to say Lucio, but I thought, well, let's do Dario. I'm a huge Lucio Fulci fan too, but me and Steve are both big Dario Argento fans. So I thought, yeah, I'll just have Kane and Dario. And so, yeah, we brought him home. And I'll tell you what, he bit the hell out of me when I went to take him out of that PetSmart box. Please don't judge me for getting animals at PetSmart. I know a lot of people get angry when people buy animals from PetSmart, but guys, even living in Louisville, I don't have that many choices of where to get animals. And I don't think Steve wanted to drive all over Louisville looking for parakeets. And, Red, yeah, I am about an hour earlier because Steve is not streaming tonight. And that's why I'm kind of rambling on for a little bit to give everybody a chance to get in here that wants to watch the movie with me. Um, but anyway, what I was saying about PetSmart is, there's a handful of places, maybe two or so other places that are not big box stores like PetSmart and Petco that have birds. But like I said, Steve was being nice enough and offering to take me to PetSmart, so I wasn't gonna like try to force his hand or anything and say, well, you got to take me this place or that place. But anyway, I think that Dario might be going through a molt, and a molt is basically when they lose some of their feathers and grow in new ones. It's just a normal process with birds, and so I think he may be going through a molt. I was doing some reading on it when I got him home and got him into the cage and everything. Um, and it can make them cranky and stuff. It's kind of like when reptiles shed. Sometimes they get cranky. Um, they may scratch or bite more. Reptiles will, or just want to be left alone. And the birds are the same way. So not only did poor Dario, they had to get him out of the enclosure um, in the PetSmart, which was traumatic for him anyway. And then when we got him home in a few minutes, I had to take him out of the box. And I put a gardening glove on one hand to try to handle him. And he was so upset that he kind of got loose from my hands. And had him in the bedroom with the door closed. But of course, there's a mirror in our bedroom at my little makeup table. And I did not want him to get over there and start banging his head against or flying into the glass. Well, there's a combination of things. I think they clip their wings, the ones that go to the PetSmarts and the Petcos and stuff now. And so I think somebody clipped his wings kind of close. So he was flying some, but he wasn't flying like way up in the air like the birds used to when I got him. And so, he got out of my hands and he was fluttering around and kind of flying up yay high off the floor. And so I had to hurry up and get him. But he kept trying to get loose from my hands. And I didn't want to hold him by his little legs because I didn't want to break his legs. So I finally got where I thought I had a hold of him. Well, by the time I got to the living room with him where the bird cage is, he started fluttering and flapping and everything. And somehow in the process, his poor old tail feathers came off. And so now he looks kind of strange because he doesn't have the long he doesn't have the long tail feathers now, which can affect his flying. So not only am I going to have to wait for his regular plumage to grow out, but I'm going to have to wait for his tail feathers to grow out too, because that helps him be able to fly straight and all that stuff. So needless to say, sometimes when you bring a parakeet home for the first time, or any kind of bird, they may just sit in one place for hours. They may do that all day, and then the next day they'll be, acting like the bird that you already have in the cage and all that stuff. So, I mean, he seems fine other than that, but he just can't fly very high. But the good thing is his little legs are working. Poor Joe Bob's legs were not working at all. It was like he was paralyzed and he would just fall forward and all that. At least the bird that I've got now is healthy enough that he can stand on his legs and maneuver around and all that stuff. But anyway, Durkee say, here's a hot take, Dana. Fulci zombie films are more rewatchable than Romero's. And yeah, I can definitely see that, Dirk. Did that light already go out? You gotta be freaking kidding me. I haven't been talking but maybe 20 minutes. Hold on, just hold that thought there. Because I forgot to charge these lights again today. Alright. Hopefully I won't have to get up too many more times. But yeah, Dirk, I could definitely see that. And you know what? I think is part of that reason. Now, this is purely my opinion, but I think it's because I'm not saying Romero's not entertaining, but it seems like his zombie or dead films come from a deeper, darker place than maybe Fulci's do. And perhaps I'm way off base on that, but that's just how I perceive them. Texas, you say you should have named him Christopher George. Yeah, I could have. Darren, you say Fulci zombie films all day long. I do love Night and Day of the Dead, but watch the Fulci films way more. Texas, you say the parakeet with the Deadites plumage. Other than that, I did want to tell you about my future plans, and I don't know, this may go over like a lead balloon. But I think maybe it was Wes or CK mentioned one night something about Faces of Death and Traces of Death. So I don't know how popular this is going to be. And like I said, it may go over like a damn lead balloon. but I'm going to try it because I don't know how many of you guys are even interested in the faces of death or traces of death. You may think, damn, Dana, you're sick if you're going to be talking about those. But I've seen a lot more faces of death. Um, Dirk, you're asking, is this movie on YouTube under Real Freaks Hauntedween? Let me see if that's the one that I have got up here. Hold on just one second here. The version, I think I know which version you're talking about, Dirk, but the one I've got is Hauntedween full horror movie, and then it's got VHS in parentheses, and it's it's from a username found on VHS. Um, Only because the other one I noticed, um, I don't know if I thought it would be distracting or what, but it has things on the side that are kind of moving around and stuff. So, but if you want to use that one, I'm sure we can get it queued up just right or about right. Dirk, you say you love Faces of Death. Well, something I've discovered over the years, the difference between Faces of Death and Traces of Death is Traces of Death seems to go into areas that Faces of Death maybe only dreamed of doing, or maybe they didn't dream of doing. But Faces of Death over the years, I'm not saying every single thing, but a lot of the more infamous stuff from Faces of Death has turned out to be staged or faked. The stuff with the monkey brains, for one thing, was not real. It is a real thing. They do serve poor old live monkeys so that people can cut their head open or keep hitting it with it. That should be illegal. I mean, it is a real thing. I guess people consider monkey brains a delicacy. But the whole thing about them torturing the poor monkey and then killing it and eating its brains is just ugh, beyond me. But the actual scene used in Faces of Death was faked, from what I can understand, and there were several more things that were staged or faked as well. But the thing about Traces of Death is I've only seen the first Traces of Death, and I've talked about this before, and I don't know how hard this is going to be for me to go back and watch this. I think there might be 5 or 6 total of those Traces of Death, and I'm going to try to find them all, as well as trying to find all the Faces of Death movies to watch. Now, I do have the original Faces of Death on Blu-ray. Don't ask me why I have that on Blu-ray, but I do. Texas, you say great talk while I'm eating dinner. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Texas. But the thing that really left me shaken with Traces of Death was when it got to the actual suicide part of the program. And I thought at the time that I rented Traces of Death that it was going to be another Faces of Death thing. I thought, oh, this is just like a Faces of Death ripoff. No. And so I was left stunned and shaken when it got to the segment on suicides. Because I don't know how many of I don't know how many of you guys have heard of Bud Dwyer. But Bud Dwyer was a politician who got accused of taking bribes. It turned out later that he was not guilty of it. But the torture they put this man through, somebody put him through just because they put him under the bus because they didn't want to get in trouble. So they kind of passed the buck and passed it on to somebody else. So poor Bud Dwyer could not take this and didn't want this for his family. And so he held a press conference, and people thought he was going to resign from his position. No, he gave a big speech, and then he handed out some envelopes to people close to him. And then comes the big shocker. He has another envelope where he pulls out a gun, a small, a handgun, and he's telling people, if this is going to disturb you, please leave. Please don't come, because people are trying to get him to stop. And he's like, no, this might hurt somebody. And then he just puts it in his mouth and basically blows its brains out. You see him slump over in the corner. There's blood coming from his nose and mouth. I had never seen anything like this in my life. And although I'm not so sure that I can sit through it again, I'm going to try it. And I'm also going to try to see if I can find the other traces of death. I did find the original one on the Internet Archive, of all places, where somebody has put it up. Because I don't necessarily love these things, so I'm not going to pay $249, which is the price on eBay for the set, just to be able to essentially to review them. Which I'm sure they weren't that high to begin with, but Brain Damage Films, I think, put them out. And I am also going to try to watch all the Faces of Death, which a lot of that stuff is easier to find than the Traces of Death stuff. And it may be because the Traces of Death stuff is so dark, maybe they're afraid to put it on outlets like YouTube. I mean, there have been some pretty, I guess they seem to be hardcore people that have actually watched this stuff, and their reactions when they're talking about Traces of Death is, it's pretty much the way I felt. I think after the Bud Dwyer thing, I think I turned it off at that point. I don't. I just could not watch anymore. That was literally one of the most horrific things I've ever seen. So I'm sure my thoughts have not changed on it. You can see the Bud Dwyer stuff other areas of YouTube, not just on a Traces of Death video. It's even shown in small part, although I don't think it shows the part where he actually, it maybe does, but I don't think it does get to the part where he actually puts the gun in his mouth. Um, but there is a documentary on Bud Dwyer called I think it's called An Honest Man, and I've watched it. And it really talks about, the effects on his family before, during, and after all the events played out. And I encourage you to watch that because it is a really good documentary if you're interested in that type of stuff. The other big on screen suicide was of Christine Chubbuck, who was and I don't know, I don't think Christine Chubbuck's suicide, people reported that they have footage, but evidently that footage is under lock and key or been destroyed by her family or somebody close to them, because I haven't been able to find any real footage out there anywhere. The Bud Dwyer stuff seems to be all over the place. But maybe that's because Bud Dwyer's family's washed their hands of it, and they think whatever will be, and we're just gonna we're just gonna deal with our grief privately, and we're not gonna worry about what's out there and what's not out there. But the Christine Chubbuck stuff, she was a newscaster or newswoman that was evidently dealing with some issues for throughout her entire life, pretty much, her adult life anyway, being depressed and on and off suicidal thoughts. And finally, things just came to a head in her personal and professional life. And for whatever reason, her final newscast, she pulled out a gun out of a bag that she had beside her and shot herself on live TV. And so those, her and Bud Dwyer's suicides on camera were, I guess, big deals. I hadn't heard of Christine Chubbuck until when I was working for the library in computer services. And I was talking about Bud Dwyer one day, and another guy that worked with me then said, "Have you heard of Christine Chubbuck?" And I now have that movie that came out not very long ago that's just called Christine. And no, it's not the one about the car. But this is about Christine Chubbuck. And a very well made film. I think the actress that plays Christine Chubbuck in it is very, very good. I'm blanking out on her name now. And I would encourage you to seek it out and watch it. If you're, I'm not saying that we want to watch people commit suicide live on camera. I'm just saying I'm intrigued by some of these different cases, and I want to know more about these people. How did they get to the point where they felt like they had nothing to live for, and why would they choose a public arena in order to kill themselves? Because that's not normally what people do. Normally, when suicide is committed, it's done in private. So that makes those two particular cases even more shocking. That it happened on live TV when kids could have been sitting there in front of the TV, and they have to, this is stuck with them all their life. So, not to get into a really dark place, but what my plans are, I'll probably do one stream on the Faces of Death films, or Faces of Death videos, whatever you want to call it. And then I will do another stream on as many of those Traces of Death videos that I can stand to watch, or that I could find. So I don't know if I can say you can look forward to that, but if you have any interest in those at all, you might want to check those out. Those will be forthcoming as soon as I can get the things watched. Darren, you say, I had Hackle-Aaron lined up, LOL. Good job, Dirk. Just mentioned Hauntedween. Darren would have been like, what the heck? This ain't the movie I'm watching. I think that light went out again, so I'm going to just say screw it for now, and we're just going to deal with the fuzzy screen. Hopefully, you guys will be paying attention to the movie here in a little bit, and you won't be, looking at my fuzzy screen back there. Let's see. John, you say, hey, y'all. Hate I missed Killer Clowns Talk this past week. I haven't seen this movie tonight, but I remember reading about it once. Well, John, the good thing is the stuff is out there, and you can always go back and watch it, but I hate that you weren't able to be in there with us the other night. Darren, you say, when I was younger, I could watch those Faces of Death films. The older I've got, though, not so much. You question your own mortality when you hit 50. Well, I question my own mortality now. I think I'm one of those weird cases. I was probably questioning my own mortality in my 20s. John, you say, I avoid Faces of Death and Traces of Death. Hell, I avoid Ebola syndrome. It's really not so bad. It just grosses me out. So I take it that even if you watched the commentary last night, you didn't actually watch Ebola syndrome. Texas, you say, you don't need the light. The screen isn't fuzzy. I think, point over this way. I think over this way it is just a tad, but I ain't gonna worry about it right now. Um, Dougie say, LOL, Darren, I haven't watched The Faces of Death since I was a kid. I haven't watched the original Faces of Death in a long, long time. Darren, you say you don't think you've seen this one either. Okay, cool. John, you say Cat 6 is too much for me. Durkee say, yeah, I don't really need the light, Dang, that's fine. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate that. John, you say, yeah, I watched commentary, but I saw the trailer. I was like, nope. Well, I'm good. Oh. John, you said the worst I go is maybe Battle Royale or I Saw the Devil. Those are great movies. Gotcha. Before we get started, I did want to talk about a couple of movies that I've watched in the last couple of days with Steve. One, I guess you could consider a horror movie, and the other not. I just was going to give my opinions real quick on them. And I know I made a liar out of myself because somebody asked me a little while ago if I was going to watch Nope, Jordan Peele's Nope, and I said nope. But Steve had it on early yesterday evening, I think it was, and I found myself sitting there watching it. Now, I don't really know what to call this movie. If I want to call it sci-fi, if I want to call it horror, if I want to call it sci-fi / horror, or do I want to call it something totally different? I don't really know. But I will say I thought it was better than Us. I don't want to give too much away in case there's those of you out there that haven't seen it yet. Dirk, you said you heard it was good. Texas, you say Nope was great. Really, I can say that I enjoyed it. Us, I don't know. There was something about Us that I just could not wrap my head around. This one, at least, although a little long, just a little bit long, there could have been you know, I won't go into deep details about it, but maybe one of you guys that has seen it as well can get me to understand what in the hell was the stuff with the monkey. What did that have to do with the stuff that was happening with whatever this entity was? I mean, was that a diversion tactic, or it just seems so random. It didn't really, in my opinion, serve any purpose other than, hey, let's just throw some extra blood in here. And as a kind of an introduction to the Asian character played by the guy that played Glenn on The Walking Dead. Other than that, I didn't see any reason for it to be in the film. I could find absolutely no correlation between the other stuff that was going on and the monkey killing people on a television show. That's all I'm going to say about it. I just didn't get that. John, you say, I heard Nope is pretty solid, not as political. Yeah, I will agree with that, John. That's probably why I liked it better. John, you say, he's a good filmmaker. He just needs to go outside of his comfort zone of tricks. You can see the town is there, right? Darren, you say, Us was a complete letdown. I'm interested in Nope for the UFO angle, but I'm not rushing to see it. I think he's overrated as a director. Yeah, maybe, a tad overrated. Texas, you say the guy that owned the park was a child star. His career ended when the monkey went nuts. Yeah, I got that, Texas, but I don't know how that whole thing served to move the plot along any. I got the part about he was kind of down and out after that happened. But I kept thinking that they were going to tie in the alien or whatever the heck that other part was. I kept thinking, oh, are they going to tie this in? What was that? But why the monkey went crazy and killed everybody? But no, it never got explained. Durkee say Us is one of those that took me twice to like it, especially that there's two twists. One I didn't notice on first watch. And Dirk, you say I haven't seen Nope yet. Well, I won't give too much away there, Dirk, because I don't want to ruin it for you. Texas, you say it was just a side bit. Yeah, I just felt like it didn't need to be there. And if they had taken that out, then the movie might have moved a little bit faster and been a little bit better if they had just left that out. They could have had something else in there, was why that guy's career ended. Maybe he got into drugs and alcohol or something like that. I just thought the monkey element was a little overblown. But anyway, the other movie I was going to talk about, I don't know how many of you Top Gun fans are out there, but Steve and I both were pretty big fans of the original Top Gun movie. Even before me and Steve were even a thing. Well, this movie was what, 85, 86? So Maverick recently came out, and let me tell you guys, again, I don't know how many Top Gun fans are in here, but Maverick was a sequel done the right way. That's what I told Steve when it ended. I said, I don't know why these other sequels, why they don't take a page from the book that they used, the template they used when they did Maverick. Because they did everything right. It was a little bit long, but that's a small issue I have with it. I thought the plot was great. Even though, Tom Cruise is a crazy ass with all this uh, Scientology shit and all that. But that still doesn't change the fact that I think he's an incredible actor. From a woman's perspective, I think he's good looking. He's still good looking, even though he's a little bit older. Um, and the music, I saw John talking about the score. The music in this one is good as well. I would actually like to get the soundtrack to both films. Um, I I love it that they had similar characters to the original Top Gun. You had some that were like really cocky and some that were a little more subtle. And, and then in the end, everybody came together and really kicked some ass. Um, so I didn't think any of the characters were overblown. I didn't feel like anybody was a caricature of themselves. Um, I was a little bit I was a little bit disappointed that Kelly McGinnis didn't come back, but they more than filled that hole by having Jennifer Connelly in there as the bartender Penny, who was somebody that Tom Cruise's character knew from the past. So the scenes with there weren't any overly steamy sex scenes, which was okay with me. I didn't have to have that. Um, there was a very sweet scene between Jennifer Connelly and Tom Cruise, but it was like an after sex thing. She was in her not a nightie, but like a little house coat and stuff, and Tom Cruise was shirtless, and they were talking and laughing and all that. And it was, from a woman's perspective, it was a sweet scene. I'm sure you guys probably wouldn't need to have that in there. But if I'm thinking right, there was a little bit steamier scene between Tom Cruise and Kelly McGinnis in the original Top Gun. But you know, they chose to go a different direction with that, with this one, and I supported that all the way. Um, John, you did say Top Gun is a classic. The score is iconic. Tony Scott, I think, was underrated as a director. John, you say he was always in the shadow of Ridley. Yeah, yeah, I feel like that too. Texas, you say 37 years to get it right. That's right. Um, yes, John, I will say it's awesome. I really enjoyed it, and it kind of makes me want to go back and watch the original Top Gun again, which, you know, I, like I said, I've always been a huge fan of Top Gun. And it's one, and I felt like here's a movie with Maverick that Steve and I can sit down and watch together and enjoy. And that's exactly what I got. It was very enjoyable. So, if you haven't seen that, and especially if you like the original Top Gun, I would highly recommend it. Durkee say Peel is overrated. I actually like Us more than Get Out after seeing it in a different way on second watch. I will say a high level of suspension of disbelief is required for Us. I agree with that too, Dirk, and maybe that was why I couldn't enjoy it because I just couldn't get to that level. John, you say, I feel like if they don't end the movie on a montage of Righteous Brothers, then it's a mistake. I don't know if they do or not. Um, I can't really say that, John. But yeah, that might that might have been a mistake. But I overall, I it was enjoyable and I can recommend it. So, with that being said, we're we're about 9 minutes shy of what my original starting spot was going to be. So I figured now will be a good time to go ahead and get started with Hauntedween, which is not a very long movie anyway. Um, is everybody? I don't know how many of you are using the link that I put under the advertising for this watch along, and how many of you might be using the DVD or whatever. But I will give y'all a chance to all get queued up. Where I'm at, I'm using the link that I found on YouTube. That's Hauntedween Full Horror Movie VHS from a user called Found on VHS. And I am queued up to Hometown Productions of Los Angeles Presents. So, I will give everybody a couple of minutes to get queued up. Darren's already telling me that he's lined up on YouTube. Just everybody else that's going to be participating actually in the watch along, just let me know when you're all queued up and ready to go, and we will start the countdown. And yes, I am drinking my coffee drink. As I said before, I'm addicted to these iced coffee drinks now. Uh, and while I'm waiting for everybody to get queued up, I will. I didn't do all my housekeeping stuff, so I will remind everybody that I do have the Deadites on Deck Facebook page, where you can like or follow it or whatever you want to do, so that you can help. It can help you keep abreast. Actually, the version I've got, Dirk, is an hour and 27 minutes and 14 seconds. Is what I'm showing on there. John, you say you think you found it on YouTube. And for those that are friends of mine on Facebook and maybe not haven't liked the Deadites on Deck page, there is a link under, a YouTube link in the comments underneath the advertising for the watch along. So you guys feel free to click on that. That's the one I'm using. If you like. Okay, Dirk, you say, okay, I found it. And John's saying he thinks he found it on YouTube. But if y'all want to be able to do it really quickly and you want to use the link that I originally put, it's both on the Deadites on Deck Facebook page and also on my personal Facebook page for those of you that are friends with me. So I'll give till 6:55 and then we'll do the countdown here. But I also have a link to my Evil Dead Chick Deadites on Deck YouTube page. In case you're interested in subscribing, you don't have to, but you can if you like. That way you can also get notifications when I'm going to do a stream. If Dana gets off her butt and make sure that she advertises in time. And I also have a link to my Etsy shop, the Morbid Beauty Boutique, which will probably make it easier if you click on that link that's in the description for this video to get to it, because otherwise you may run into the same trouble that Dirk did and several other people did about not being able to find Morbid Beauty Boutique by searching. And I don't know, again, if it's because I'm not popular enough yet or what. But anyway, that link will probably get you there quicker. And there's also a link to my TeePublic storefront, which I'm going to keep active, where there are a couple of Deadites on Deck shirt designs that you can get. Or you can get it on mugs and pillows and all that. Okay, so now is 6:55, so we're going to go ahead and get the movie started. So I'm going to go back to mine. And as usual, I've got the audio muted on mine just so it's not distracting to everybody else that's watching the stream. You guys feel free to have the audio going if you would like on yours. So we are queued up to Hometown Productions of Los Angeles presents. Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. Press play. And we're moving into a William Douglas Robertson film. And like I said before, I believe Doug Robertson has passed away since. I believe he may have been ill. I don't know if it was cancer or what, but I think he had been ill for a while, and I do believe he passed away in the last year or so. Keep in mind, these people they're showing here, Brad Hanks, I think Bentley Tittle is one, and I know you guys are probably snickering. Tim Hubbard, people like that. Dan McNamara, maybe. Most of these people, Bart White, who plays the sheriff on here, he was actually a professor at Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green at the time that this movie was made. And he was, like, the way they talked, he was really thrilled about playing the sheriff in this. But some of the other people that I mentioned, and maybe some that I didn't mention, Brian Blakely, I think, too, were alumni of Western Kentucky University. And Corey Lash, the producer and cinematographer and a co-screenwriter, I think, with Doug Robertson on this, and Doug Robertson as well, were, I believe, also alumni of Bowling Green, or Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green. And so I think several of them moved out to LA, so they decided to come back to Bowling Green to make this movie. So you will actually, for those of you that live in Kentucky or have been to Bowling Green or maybe live in Bowling Green, you may be familiar with especially the college locations, because they were actually on the Western campus in some scenes. And my sister-in-law works in one of the administrative offices at Western, And evidently, a lot of the buildings still look the same because she told me once in one picture that she thought she could see her office from that. So we're getting the movie started, and the Berber house, and this is Eddie that's taking the money for the haunted house. They must have a haunted house every year, the Berber family. So this kid is, Eddie is a little off. If you haven't noticed that already. Um, and here is the entrance of Bart White. And I think Bart White has a wig on in this because he's supposed to be younger here, because this is evidently supposed to be like 1969 or 1970 possibly. But it's funny, and I think I heard somebody else mention this as well. It's funny that people still got mullets and, and stuff like that, and the hair and the clothes seem like uh, late 80s, like 89 through 90 or 91, even in the time period that this is supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be like 1969. And then when we move 20 years in the future, of course, it's supposed to be 1989. It's so funny how they still have the same clothes and stuff. Same type of clothes, same type of hairstyle. And at this point in time, it only cost $1 to get into the haunted house. You wouldn't catch it being that cheap now. So, even the way Eddie runs is kind of weird. You don't really know what's going on with this kid here. Okay, hold on, guys. Keep on watching the movie. I'm going to let Reggie in. Reggie. Okay. Oh, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah, actually, Dirk, it is Kentucky. You say you guys have haunted hayrides there? And now Eddie is crawling inside the internal workings of the house. And evidently, Eddie has fixed up a special room. And if you haven't figured out, again, something's really wrong with this kid. Um, he's not just like a horror fan, he's weird. And so this, I don't know, me and Steve were talking about this when we did this commentary, because seeing the mother and her daughter, why does everybody have all these cool muscle cars in this movie? It's like, I don't know why a mother and her daughter would have a cool car like they do. Seems like that mother would be driving like a Volvo or a Volkswagen, I mean a station wagon or something. I think a lot of the cars they used were like crew cars, different people on the cast and crew's vehicles. And as with a lot of low budget movies, a lot of the people that acted in the movie also were working behind the scenes. And there's a great documentary on this if you've got the 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary DVD. That documentary is also on YouTube. I saw it when I was looking for a link to this movie. So you can also watch it there. So the little girl, the young girl, has gotten separated from her mother, and she thinks that Eddie's going to help her get out of here. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Eddie is going to take her to his secret room that he's got fixed up here. And things are going to go really south here in a second. I don't know why this girl thought this would be a good idea to go into her room like this. And so the mother is going to come out here soon, and she's went to the last half of the house, and now she's noticing her kid's not with her. That's not very good parenting. So now Eddie's wanting to scare this girl, and I could have sworn maybe it was just me and a trick of my eyes or something, but it does look like that little girl kind of almost slows down for half a second to push her sleeve up on her sweater or whatever. Okay, so now things have gotten really bad, and you're going to see that here in a second. So Eddie was chasing her around, and now she's backed into a rather sharp piece of wood. And she's looking a little worse for wear now. So what's Eddie gonna do now? Oh, well, he's got a machete. And if there is an uncut scene that I've seen like in a little bit of an extended cut on this, where you actually see blood coming out of a neck stump where he's cut the little girl's head off, and then he just runs like a bat out of hell to the fields. Here's some Kentucky fields here. Looks a lot like stuff I would have saw back home when I was living with my parents. What do we call those things? Foxtails or something? Those little plants there. So I guess that woman found her kid because she screamed really loud. And then Eddie's mother's like, Eddie, we got to go away for a while. So that's how you solve problems. You murder a little girl and then you go hide out in the woods in a cabin. Yeah. So this is 20 years later. There is the grown Eddie cutting wood. And his mother is inside doing dishes or something. Yeah. But I want to say this may have been Tennessee, but I could be wrong. Um, it may still have been in Kentucky as well. So Mama's not feeling so good here. She's holding her chest. And she collapsed. So, and now Eddie's bringing the wood. And he's gonna see that, uh-oh, something's wrong with Mama here. And I always used to joke, when you see Eddie from the back here, I always thought he looked like an overweight Greatest American Hero guy. He always it looked like an overweight William Cat from Greatest American Hero, if y'all remember that show. Because it looks like his hair is like blonde from the back. See that? And even though Mama's dead, he's got her a nice little pillow. Because, even if they're dead, you want them to be comfortable when you're going to make a long ride, have a long drive somewhere. And so he's going to take Mama home. So they're going to go back to Regawas, Kentucky, which otherwise known as Bowling Green, because as far as I know, there really is not a Regawas. And Western's called Top Hill State College. So I think Doug Robertson was kind of trying to be satirical about frat guys and the women that hang around them, because I think this is some of this stuff. I'm sure frat guys do act like this to some extent, but I also think it's a little overblown. It's almost a caricature. Here's the Pee Wee Herman look-alike here. Every frat house has got to have one of those. And there is the director, Doug Robertson, playing an RC vendor. I don't know why he's at the frat party. I don't know, but and yeah, chicks always like guys that drink a lot of beer and burp at frat parties. Okay, so here's Brian Blakely coming up, and he's the president of this fraternity. I believe that's Tim Hubbard back there in on the left, and he looks like he's already got a freaking receding hairline. You're going to see the entrance of one of my favorite characters, probably my favorite character in this whole entire movie, of Hanks, played by a guy named Brad Hanks. And no, when he talks, this is his accent. That is a real Kentucky accent. That is not faked. I know a lot of people have made fun of it and they're saying, listen to Hank's Kentucky accent. Well, it's a real accent. It's not fake. It's not a caricature. It's not anything. It's his. That's how he actually talked. And here's Blake Pickett. Now, Blake Pickett, as far as I know, Blake Pickett was not an alumni of Western Kentucky University. Blake Pickett was an actual actress that evidently they were able to get to come in to fulfill the role of Brian Blakely's girlfriend. His constantly ignored girlfriend. There is Brad Hanks. And for those of you that have listened to, and I am not making fun of Aaron, Uncle Bill, or CK West, but anybody that has listened to them talk over the years, you know that those are actual Kentucky accents. Because even Steve says, and he's not making fun of Aaron either, he says that Brad Hanks sounds a lot like Aaron or Uncle Bill. So you guys make your own determination about that just from listening. Let's see. Turkey says, some bitch came running out of a cornfield on my ass with a chainsaw with no blade, white pillowcase on his head, and overalls. I was frozen scared to death. Johnny said, I'm about 90 minutes from Bowling Green. It still trips me out that Carpenter was from there. That seems so weird. Yeah, so now if we go around the Bowling Green area, and of course my brother and my sister-in-law and nephews live in Bowling Green now. So sometimes, on occasion we went there to visit, and also Steve's niece graduated from Western Kentucky University, and we went there for her graduation a few years ago, and also visited my sister-in-law and my nephews and took them out to lunch that day. So I get to go to Bowling Green a lot more than some other people would. Johnny say, LOL, Dirk. I worked some years ago. Crazy mofo smoking weed and putting the chains back in other saws to fuck with customers. Jeez. I worked with some shady people with a few I was at. Johnny say, very much house is October built type of mentality, LOL, in Mississippi. The house is October built. Durkee say, damn, John, that's jacked up. They would put the chains back on. Darren say, a few good ones to watch are Hellfest, Haunt, and Bloodfest. I really liked Haunt, Darren. I'm glad you brought that one up. Johnny say, yeah, they were crazy, just backwoods hillbillies. Now it's more sanctioned and less of that more professional haunts. This was early 2000s. Darky say, don't forget, Kiss meets the fam of the park, Darren. LOL. Darky say, fucking preppies. LOL. So now we're still, in frat party mode here, and this guy has drank so much that this girl changes from a slightly overweight chick to one, I guess, that's supposed to be more attractive. Now the guy in back there that just got slapped, and he's gonna end up falling off of of that railing where he's sitting now. Steve always said that, and this is no offense to Justin Ryan either. For those of you that know Justin is a really sweet guy. I like him a lot. But we said that he's getting ready to fall off here. Well, in just a second here. He's sliding over and sliding over. There he went. I always find that scene funny. But anyway, me and Steve both thought that guy looked kind of like Justin Ryan. He was the guy that was behind the bar, too, as well. Now, that, for anybody that has seen Western Kentucky University and been on the campus, actually, my cousin Jed went to Western Kentucky University for a short time, too. He recognized that shot that's behind the two actors here. He was familiar with that area. I think they may have added that white, whatever it is, structure there by the building to, I don't know, to give it scale maybe or something. Texas, you say the theatrical version of Kiss Meets the Phantom that was shown in the UK was better than that TV version. I'd probably like to see that, actually. John, you said one time I was working one and I had a geisha mask on and a table saw. I ran and tripped and the saw unplugged. The poor customer just laughed and helped me up. John, you say it's not always scares, often humor and waiting to go eat dinner, huh? So now we get kind of a little bit sappy moment where Mel is talking to Kurt. So now they're having a meeting because they've got to pay their dues up of like $3,000. Here's more of Hank's. You guys gotta understand how he's my favorite character. He's just, this guy is so lovable. This guy obviously to me does not look like a college student. Some of the others could pass for college students, but he's got the obvious receding hairline going. So anyway, they're talking over ways that they can get some money to pay their dues. But Hanks comes off with the craziest shit in this movie too, and I think he has some of the best lines ever. I wish in the documentary on the movie that they had been able to show more of him. He reminds me a lot of my Uncle Scotty. Some of the things that he says. My Uncle Scotty was always so funny like that. Now they're wanting to have a fundraiser, Hellraiser, and charge everybody $3 to get in because they think that will make them enough money to pay off the money they owe to their charter or whatever. So now they're wanting Hanks to do all. He's like, I gotta do all the manual labor? That's bullshit. And there is Bentley Tittle there in the white shirt. Who is kind of like this cocky asshole that doesn't like Kurt very well. And is just looking for an opportunity to steal Mel away from him. You guys remember these shirts like this in the late 80s, early 90s? And there is a Mustang, or I mean, not Mustang, Corvette, rather. The Corvette factory is actually in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So they were actually able to borrow this car from someone that lived in Bowling Green, and her only thing was it had to be given back to her in the same condition as she lent it, and I guess they did. Now I'm forgetting where this is at, but it looks like it's obviously on the Ohio River, because that really looks like the Ohio River, which I'm familiar with. Now you're gonna see some topless chicks here in a little bit. They're the same couple of chicks that were in the frat scene and got cold beer poured on their shirts, of which I don't think they minded. And here they come. And Mel thought she was going to get to be alone with Kurt, but that doesn't seem to be the case because his buddies have found him. And I'm not sure. I don't think that blonde chick that's topless here, I don't think she's an overweight chick, but I think the way this was filmed, maybe, it looks a little like she's squashed and she looks a little heavier. And this guy, I think he was able to get some kind of film credit or something for doing the documentary for it. But he said, well, I'll do the documentary for you, but I get to be in between these two topless chicks in this scene. And now they're singing like the Gilligan's Island theme song. Darky said, I used to have the VHS Texas. I'm guessing it was the TV version. Johnny said, this movie looks way older than 92 or 91. Yeah, it does. And I think because it was filmed before then, but didn't actually hit video store shelves until like 91 or so. Yeah, Darren, it does look like a mid to late 80s film. And I think late 80s, 88, 89 might have been when it was actually filmed. Johnny say definitely, Darren. Turkey says UB's older brother. Yeah, it's his older brother we didn't know he had. Um, is it just me or does anybody else think it sounds like Uncle Bill? Johnny said, I wonder if these filmmakers reached out to Jim Barney. He was kind of a local. I don't know. I never heard if they did or not. Yeah, John, you said probably a Blood Rage type of deal, filmed 83, released in 87. Yeah, I think a lot of low budget films that happen. And I think this house here, at least the outside of it, that's serving as the Berber house. I believe this might have been filmed somewhere outside of Bowling Green, just outside of Bowling Green. Um, Anybody remember those types of shorts, like Kurt's got on there, and he's got what is that Foot Locker Slam Fest shirt? I think it was probably a lot of bring your own clothing, bring your own wardrobe, and who is that? Is that Eddie with another mask on? So I hope you guys so far are enjoying this movie. It's always very nostalgic for me to go back because this takes me back to a time when I was in my youth. I was getting videos from the video stores. Um, Basically, I didn't have a care in the world at this time, so these types of movies are very, very nostalgic for me. Plus, the fact that this was filmed in Kentucky, which still to this day blows my mind. Some people might not think that's a big deal at all. But the fact that, I'm a huge fan of horror movies in general, and an actual horror movie was filmed that close to where I grew up, um, and also was filmed and, starred, and some of the crew were people that actually went to college in Bowling Green. Um, it's just amazing to me. This is probably the one and only, well, horror movie that I can think of that has so many Kentucky connections to it, really. I mean, I'm talking like actual Kentucky connections. Now, if you count Halloween and stuff, they have in name only. For instance, like Smith's Grove is mentioned. Smith's Grove is very close to Bowling Green. So John Carpenter's going to have that kind of stuff thrown in there. But it wasn't, the thing was, Halloween wasn't actually filmed in Kentucky. It's actually supposed to be Illinois or whatever, Haddonfield. And Haddonfield isn't even in Illinois, it's in New Jersey, I think, where Deborah Hill might have grown up. So it's kind of like, I'm sure John Carpenter was pulling some things from his growing up days in Bowling Green, like names of towns and stuff like that, but and maybe street names and stuff. But he wasn't actually filming there. He was filming out in California. These guys made the trip back from Los Angeles, California, and came back to Kentucky to film this because that's what Doug Robertson wanted to do. So this band here that's playing is called The Side. And we're seeing a lot of, late 80s, possibly early 90s fashions here. We've got the vest. Steve says he remembers wearing vests. I mean, this movie's obviously a product of its time. But it doesn't mean that we can't enjoy it now, though. I think Corey Lash might be in back here of this group of guys. I think the guy with the glasses, I want to say that's Corey Lash, but I could be wrong. And they got Hanks taking the money there. And I heard that Brad Hanks became a lawyer in Louisville, but I don't think he's a lawyer in Louisville anymore. I did some research, and I believe he's living down in Florida now. But I wish that when he was a lawyer in Louisville, I wish I had been able to find his office, and because I would have loved to talk to this guy. I have tried to connect up with some of the people that were part of this movie through Facebook to try to get interviews or something with them. But, nobody has responded to that. Some of them have accepted my friend request. I believe Brian Blakely did. Blake Pickett did. But I think I sent one to Bentley Tittle, who we just saw there. But I don't think he ever answered me, and he didn't accept my friend request. So maybe he doesn't want to talk about this movie, and maybe the other people don't want to either. But I don't think there was any bad blood between any of these people and Doug Robertson or Corey Lash or anything like that. So I believe they are outside of one of the houses on campus. And the animals or whatever that are the mascots or whatever you want to call them that are outside one of the houses, maybe the fraternity house. They actually had to paper mache those and turn them into a different kind of animal. Um, I guess something to do with the fraternities or something. Um, I think the fraternity house that they were actually having the party in at the beginning, and probably the same house they're showing here where they're having the fundraiser, Hellraiser. I believe it was an actual fraternity house, and I believe that it might have burned down a few years after they filmed in it. So, of course, that house has been replaced. Steve says this is disgusting. And then the chicks do it too. I don't know anybody that ever did that with their cigarettes. Okay, so now Eddie's showing up. What he has in mind, we don't know at this point. So here's a very teary-eyed male showing up at the bar, and Kurt is going. He does this whole thing. Why are you crying? You know. She's standing there just bawling her eyes out in front of him. Dirk, you say you like it? Cool. Darren, you say, I find something enjoyable in all these 80s type of slashers. I do too, Darren. John, you say, yeah, it's not common. Kentucky and Tennessee weren't film hotbeds back then. No, they certainly were not. John, you say, most were in North Carolina or something. If they were in the South in that time. Now it's anywhere in the U.S. Well, Dirk, I don't want to give anything away, but I guess you could kind of call her a final girl, but I'll wait till it gets more towards the end, and then I'll elaborate a little bit more. John, you say a slasher inspired by Kentucky, set in Illinois, filmed in California. Exactly. Darren, you say it's cool you like these films enough to contact some of the actors. Some disown, but you do get a few that embrace their fans. I used to talk regularly with Leslie Donaldson. I did too for a little bit, Darren, but I don't know what's happened to Leslie Donaldson. She used to post a lot more on Facebook, and I don't know if she got politicalized or whatever, but like I asked her for an interview for Blood Type when I was trying to revive Blood Type. And she was all gung ho for it. And I don't fault her at all for this. But she told me, yeah, go ahead, send me some questions, and I will answer them as best I can. And so I did, and I didn't hear anything. And then finally she messaged me back and said that she had gotten really super busy. And if I didn't want to wait for her to give answers to these questions, she could pull some stuff from some old interviews and we could kind of input those in to go with my questions. But at the time, I thought, well, she'll get unbusy and we'll be able to do this interview at a later date. Well, I never heard anything back after I told her that, I could wait. And I'm kind of, I don't want to be one of those people that just keeps bothering the hell out of them. So I kind of just let it go for now, and I'll kind of sit on that project and do my live streams, and then maybe at another time I can revive the Blood Type magazine. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up Leslie Donaldson because I did have a pretty good rapport with her. So now Eddie is giving the keys to the Berber house to Hanks, and he knows the fraternity handshake because if you remember from the beginning, the young Eddie, the college students that come by do the fraternity handshake. And I guess Eddie remembers it after all these years, and the handshake, I guess, has stayed the same over the years. For 20 years, it has stayed the same. There's another shot that kind of makes him look like an overweight William Cat from Greatest American Hero. I can't help but it. And like I was telling Steve when we did the commentary, what in the world is everybody like swapping these orange shorts around? Because those look kind of like the orange shorts that Kurt had on earlier. I just wonder what Brad Hanks looks like now. Because you can kind of see what some of these other people look like, but I haven't been able to find a profile for Brad Hanks on Facebook. I found some Brad Hanks, but I'm not sure if it's the same guy or not. Some of them I know it's not because it looks nothing like him. I think Brian Blakely is like a newscaster or weatherman or something now. Darren, you say she's less active on Facebook now for sure. Yeah, I hardly ever see anything from her now. Mill Lake, you say sororities and fraternities are a staple of horror movies. They certainly are. Texas, you say William Catch to a movie about a fat wino. So now they're gonna go out. I think this might have been Corey Lash's car here that they're driving out to the Berber house. This definitely looks like Kentucky here. Guys, I'm going to let this movie keep running. Y'all keep enjoying it. I am going to run to the restroom really quick. I will be right back. So, we're back at the, I think this may be on the steps of the fraternity house. I think they filmed a lot in and around this one fraternity house because that one was probably the one they were given permission to film in and around. So, I think that's why you see a lot of shots either inside or outside. And the one room that they were in at the near the beginning of the movie when the frat party was going on was I think they said that was the biggest room in the frat house. Now, I can't remember if Olympic Fitness Center was an actual gym that was in Bowling Green. So Bart White is going to show up again here, right here. Now, you see that is Brad Hanks, but from the back, do you notice something funny about his hair when they show up from the back? It looks a lot darker, and that is because um, I believe Brad Hanks had left by the time that maybe that was a pickup shot, and so Doug Robertson had to fill in for Brad Hanks there. So that is why the hair looks kind of funny in the reverse shot. You can see I've watched this movie way too many times and know way too much about this movie. So Bart White's character is kind of a hard ass as the sheriff. So now they're going to play the Hauntedween song. What do you know? The Hauntedween song is on a CD. So here's the start of Bentley trying to get mail. And there's a little budding romance going on between this chick and Brad Hanks. I don't know. I kind of like this little montage here where they're fixing the house up to have a haunted house. I'm always a sucker for these types of shots, though. And I believe there's Doug Robertson there. And I believe he was really being attacked by a hornet or a wasp or something because they had stirred up a hornet's nest inadvertently. And so I think they just left that in the film, but I think that was real. Mel's a little bit of a whore, you know. She just goes for. I mean, I know her friend told her to make Kurt jealous and that he would want her back, but I don't know. That seems kind of whorish to me. Steve would probably want to know where that guy's working out. And they're grilling some chicken. That chicken actually looks pretty good. These guys kind of make fun of it a little bit, but I don't know. It looks really good to me. That's a little mini grill. There's Doug Robertson again. He shows up quite a bit in his own movie. She's painting Hank's toenails there. I think that was Hanks in the lawn chair kind of supervising. There he is with his woman again. Here's like the end to this montage here. They worked really hard and they're proud of their work. And that dog, I don't know if that was, I can't recall if that was somebody's dog. I think the dog just showed up and like somebody put it in their vehicle just for, you know, so it wouldn't get hurt or something on the set. I think it ended up ripping the upholstery. So I guess the pizza guy would deliver pizza out in the middle of nowhere. And you guys are going to get to see a little nudity here. Very Friday the 13th esque shot's going to show up here in a little bit. They're wanting him to sing Free Bird, and he can't remember very much of it. And then they start singing Rose Colored Glasses, courtesy of Hanks here. And Hanks has a University of Kentucky Wildcats sweatshirt on as well in this scene. And Kurt's kind of depressed because Mel's with Bentley. Everybody's kind of giving in, singing the rose colored glasses song. So I hope you guys are still enjoying this. I mean, we're almost an hour into it. There's not a whole bunch left to this movie. Which is not the main reason that I picked it, but I did figure it would be a good one for a watch along because it's not tying up too much of people's time to actually be able to sit down and watch this. Hank's woman is going to tell the story about Eddie Berber, and what happened that night that the little girl was killed. And she says her daddy was sheriff, but I thought Bart White was the sheriff, and I don't think that's her dad. So I don't know. Maybe in '69 or whatever, Bart wasn't the sheriff. Maybe he was like a deputy or something, and now he's the sheriff. Ah, and somebody's watching them. Durkee say, "Don't the chick look too old to be hanging with these kids?" Uh, you talking about the blonde chick that's telling the story, Dirk? Now, Steve made a joke when we were doing the commentary that she looked like Linda Blair's cousin or maybe Amy Schumer's cousin or something. So you're going to get to see a little nudity courtesy of this chick that's leaving with the blonde guy here. And you're going to see what I mean when I say it's a very Friday the 13th-esque shot. Hank thought he was going to get lucky too. Oh, that hair over her eye. When chicks had that hair like that would have drove me absolutely bonkers. So I promise you guys nudity, and you're going to get some here. And I'm not sure, but this chick might have not been one of their crew people. They may have had to get her from Hollywood or something to take her clothes off. They may have gotten this one out in LA. And not that some Kentucky chicks might not take their clothes off for the camera. I'm just saying. Uh oh. Ah, this guy's toast. Now, this seems like a Friday the 13th shot, too. We'll see what you guys think. Seems like a Friday 5 shot there. Or possibly a Halloween shot, but I think in this, with this scenery, it looks more like a Friday the 13th shot. So she doesn't know that her boyfriend's dead. I think her boyfriend's name is Ferris. I don't really know anybody in Kentucky named Ferris. The only time I heard the name Ferris was on Ferris Bueller. Oh, there you get a close-up shot of some boobs. Uh-oh. She's going to be toast soon. This seems like Friday the 13th, too, as well. Uh-oh. Slow motion shot. That's sort of like a Halloweenish shot. But again, the scenery makes it very reminiscent of Friday the 13th. Now, here is some scenes that are actually on the campus at Western Kentucky University. I can tell because I've actually been on this campus. All of this, I'm pretty sure, is on the campus at Western. You even see I think there's a shot where you see the red trash cans on campus. There's some there. Or red top trash cans. I think Hanks has got a hat on that says like Rooster Run, Kentucky. I'm not sure exactly where that is, but it's probably close to Bowling Green, I would imagine. And I don't know why, but Hank's shirt seems very dirty down near the bottom of it, where it's tucked into his jeans. And they're talking about they didn't see Ferris and his woman after last night, so. But they don't really seem too concerned. So now Mel's all wanting to play nicey nice now after she was salivating over Bentley all night. And Kurt is understandably upset. Well, of course you will. So once again, Eddie is at his house, and he's gonna make his own kill room here. He's getting all prepared. But what I want to know is how was he able to get like a working electric chair? Or how would he know how to make one like that? Durkee said, "Yeah, the blonde chick looks like she's in her mid 30s. Don't you think that Tim Hubbard guy, like I think they call him Jack? Don't you think that guy looks like he's got a receding hairline?" Durkee said, "Yeah, it's got to be Friday 13th inspired." Darren, you say, I'm liking this for what it is. I'm thinking this would make old Curly Jaw's top three. You think? I don't know. I mean, I've loved this movie for a long time, but usually the stuff with old Curly Jaws, there's a few that he's liked really well that I like. But I don't know. I'd be kind of curious to see if it made his top three. But old Curly Jaws usually likes stuff that is so beyond bad. Um, and I don't even think this movie's that bad, actually. What do you guys think? I think it's already shown. Like Bentley was eating a sandwich, and it looked like a Subway sandwich. Steve also made a joke about this guy's chin in this movie. He's like, "Make it stop, Dana. It won't stop." So, okay, so now's the night of the haunted house, and Hanks is once again taking money. So we're almost an hour in. So you guys, we don't have too much more to go. And Eddie has created his kill room. He seems very proud. Well, I don't think we need that ass shot of Eddie, but whatever. I would like to think if I did a haunted house that this many people would come, but probably not. So this is almost like they're going to a drive-in movie, and he's like, "How many?" And they got people covered up back there in the back seat, thinking that they wouldn't have to pay for them. And that looks like a dad. Why would a dad do something like that? I guess he's the same type of person who would put somebody in the trunk of his car when they go to the drive-in. There's going to be a lady here. There's the guy there that I said had a receding hairline that's driving the car. He looks way too old. But you're going to see a lady here soon that's going to be waiting in line. I think it's the lady with that striped sweater on they just showed. She actually won a contest that they either put out at Houchins, which is a grocery store that I remember from my hometown, or it was a radio station thing. But anyway, they wrote why they should be in this horror movie. There she is, and she won, and so she got to be in the movie. And that dude looked like he was going to the S&M club. He ought to be on cruising. And of course, the fraternity guys get to go in for free. They're talking about the wall of hands there. These guys are horn dogs. I think RC must have given them some money or something, product placement or whatever. Darren, you say it's no fog remake though, lol. Dirk, said the fog remake is his favorite. I can't even try to wrap my head around that piece of shit. I can't either, Dirk. Darren, you say it baffles me as well. Texas, you say, I think old Curly Jaws is just trying to work everybody. I think he is in a way, Texas. And I also think, though, that some of the stuff he really does like. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, Darren, you say, I don't think it's a gimmick. I think he's totally serious. And I think a lot of it is, like I said before, it's a generational thing. Whereas most of us are a little older, um, and older than old Curly Jaws. I just think that's a generational thing. I think, I guess that kids now or young people now are a lot more accepting of some of this stuff that's come out in the last few years than maybe us real hardcore, I don't want to call us fanatics, but hardcore horror fans are. Durkee said, yeah, there's no way someone could love that many bottom of the shit pile movies. Texas, you say he would be great in a remake of House by the Cemetery's Palm. So now this chick had to go take a pee. Oh, uh-oh. And he's one strong dude, ain't he? I guess there's no working bathrooms in the Berber house, so she had to go out and take a squat to pee. See, I could have never done that, and I definitely couldn't do it now. But you know what? Like, a lot of this stuff that they're doing is kind of hokey, but when these people come out of the haunted house, they're like talking about how it's so scary. And I realized that some of them are going to see Eddie's kill room. Um, and maybe perhaps that's what they're talking about the most. Um, but even in the beginning shots at the old Berber house, the old haunted house, people talked about, it being scary. Um, and I didn't think that was as scary either. So now I guess they got a keg of beer out there. You got to have a keg of beer at your haunted house, too. I've never actually drank from a keg. I don't know if that makes the beer tasting better or not. Uh oh. What do you think, guys? Is Eddie getting victims for his kill room? I think he is. So Bentley's wanting a little. He's wanting to get down to the nitty gritty with Mel. So I guess he's wanting to go out to his van. Yeah, this guy's got a van, of course. Um, Darren, I'm trying to think what label it's on. I don't know if it was like a um, regional label or something like that. Gosh, I'd have to look. Now I got my DVD directly from my 20th anniversary DVD. I got it directly from Doug Robertson because what he did was the last part of his life he was living back in the Bowling Green area, and so there was a Hauntedween website, and I don't know if anybody's running it now, but Doug Robertson was still living whenever I got my DVD a few years ago. And so what I did was I went on the website and I actually ordered it. And there for a while I thought, well, maybe he's not, maybe nobody's running this website. I might not ever get a movie. But sure enough, a few weeks later, it came directly from Doug Robertson. And I did not know I could have requested it be signed, or I would have. I was just glad to have the movie. Dougie said, I almost like to be opposite of popular opinions. Me, I personally don't give a shit. Popular or unpopular, don't matter what people think. I will like what I like no matter. I'm quite a bit like that too, Dirk. Dougie say, I've floated too many kegs to count, Dana. It's a lot cheaper buying a keg than by the case. Um, Steve told me about when he was in the army, they floated a keg too. Darren, you say that guy's chin is long. It certainly is. Um, Darren, you say I think eBay will be the best bet to get this. Probably so at this point in time. So Eddie has gotten several people to use in his kill room, and this is so funny because these people think, of course, this is all fake. And unfortunately, within this movie, it is not fake. Why would you be letting all these kids in this haunted house? I guess they're not too choosy about. He's got some cool masks and stuff, too. I wonder where Eddie got all this stuff. Well, there's Ferris and his girlfriend. And there's Mama. I would think she would look quite a bit worse, especially if it was hot. Well, he really stuffed that baseball far up in that guy's mouth, didn't he? I remember when girls had hats like that one chick. These kids are enjoying this way too much. They just seem way, way too into this. Yeah, that girl says, take his head off, and he does. Yeah, Debbie Gibson hat. It certainly is dirt. And Dougie say the jingle and stinger is similar to Halloween. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I kind of get that too. So I was thinking a guy said that almost gave me a a cardio infarction or something like that. That's the only part that I think what I don't think people would say that. They just say, oh, it almost gave me a heart attack. So so Bentley is waiting out here for mail to come, and we haven't seen that Pee Wee Herman dude for us for a minute. So I think it's about time for him to show up again. And there he is. Let me ask you guys this. Did anybody else have like a Pee Wee Herman wannabe in their hometown that's like, this guy's so crazy? Uh oh. Well, he's got Bentley now. This, I think it's so funny the way like he's dragging people around and stuff. Why are there shoes on that dude? So he's going back because he's afraid Mel's gonna get with Bentley. I think that guy that just walked past in the white shirt and the beard and stuff, I believe that was like one of their stunt people. Well, heck, Bentley ain't even there. She's ready to go back to Kurt now. Uh oh, Eddie's back. I find this amusing too, the way he's like using Kurt's jacket to drag him. Maybe this is about the myocardial infarction or whatever. I don't know. It was in one of those scenes. And Hanks is looking at a Playboy there. Dougie say, not any good ones, but I remember kids acting like him. I was always like, what the fuck? Dougie say, I was running around playing war games with my cousins in the woods, shooting each other with BB guns with 3 layers of clothes on. LOL. I guess we were all doing our own kind of off the wall things, weren't we? So we're getting through. That guy always reminded me of David Koresh. I don't know why, really, but maybe it's the hair. But we're getting into the last few minutes of the film. We're about an hour and 14 minutes in, and like I said, this is only an hour and 27 minutes, so there's not a whole lot left to this. I love that thing Kurt's doing with his mouth there. Really magnificent mouth action. Boy, he must have used a whole couple of rows of duct tape on her. I'm worried about these kids. They seem really, really into this. Now, this is why I said to Dirk earlier that I don't know, I guess you could call her a final girl, but this is kind of like, to me, this is kind of like Blood Lake, and it's sort of, I mean, I'm assuming she lives, but it seems like it's kind of up in the air because, I mean, he's really slicing the hell out of her arm there, and she's bleeding a lot. But almost like the girl in Blood Lake, well, Hank's got slapped then. It's like, ain't he got a girlfriend? Where in the hell is his girlfriend now? Eddie's loving this. See, I don't know. How did he know how to make a working electric chair? I mean, he's been living out in the woods with his mama. I don't think he would be learning that kind of stuff. So now Hanks is going through the haunted house. So they're going to stand against the wall. This is hilarious, though, because, like, Hanks acts like he's liking it that somebody's, like, groping him with I mean, and there are guys back there. That's what's so weird. See, he goes back for another try. Yeah, there's old David Koresh look-alike saying, "Ham, let him hang." Yeah, and he says that like twice. I think they just show the same scene twice. So, oh, there's Hanks. Hanks is gonna know that this is all real, and he's gonna go ballistic here. And coming up is going to be everybody's freaking out now. Coming up is going to be another great line from Hanks after he uses the blowtorch on Eddie. Well, first he's going to use it to get into where everybody is, and Eddie's trying to get away. Where in the hell did they get this blowtorch? I love this because he basically he pulls Mel off of there and just kind of leaves her there. I'll just leave her there for Kurt to attend to her. Oh, it's complete pandemonium now. Uh, Hank's got his Nikes on. Hanks has got his Nikes on. He's ready for business here. Uh-oh. And you know that's got to be really hot with all that metal down there. And here, coming up, here's the line about Mama's home-cooked biscuits or something like that. Yeah, it's great. If that ain't a Kentucky saying, I don't know what is. But Eddie's not dead yet. There you say that one dude had the cult shirt on. Yeah. You say laughing my ass off. Dougie say that Koresh dude cracks me up. Doesn't he look like David Koresh? Dougie say, yeah, don't bother to stop the bleeding. No, we don't have time for that. And then Eddie busts out with his van. And he don't bother to close the back door very good. See, I mean, she's still alive there, but and then Kurt just leaves her. And then he pokes a hole in the sheriff's car, in the tires. Dang, he knocked down the Bober House sign. Did Kurt go out for the track team or something? Yeah, maybe he's training. And we're actually going to get to see Eddie's face here. He's a little worse for wear on that one side. So he blew up the van. But here's something you're going to get ready to see that doesn't happen in every horror movie like this. And I don't know how it's possible, but, you know, we're supposed to suspend disbelief a little bit when we're watching a horror movie. And I think if you look close here in a second, you will see a concrete block and a chain on the underside of this vehicle here. Did you see it, them pull that chain and block out of there, and then the vehicle takes off? It was really for a split second there. And so there you have it. There is the great Hauntedween. Darren, you said like Bloodhook, this was another fun one. Well, I was hoping that you guys would find it fun and enjoyable. And There was a fly on my screen there. Um, there was actually supposed to, I think there was a Kickstarter for a Hauntedween 2, not done by Doug Robertson or really anybody associated with this one. But I don't think it ever got off the ground, for which I'm kind of happy, because if Doug Robertson and crew had done it, I think it would have been pretty decent. But I don't know what this other guy's plans were for the film, but I just got a feeling it wouldn't have been very good. Durkee said this was a fun watch. UB's brother should have been in more films. Yeah, that I wish we had, been able to see Brad Hanks in more films. Unfortunately, he wanted a law career, and so um, he went to law school right after he graduated from Western. And then, like I said, I believe he became a lawyer for a little while in Louisville. Now, I think he's living in Florida now. I don't know if he's still a lawyer or he's retired or what. Um, but can you imagine that guy being in the courtroom? I mean, I know there's Kentucky lawyers with that accent. I know. It just blows my mind, though. But yeah, I wish we could have seen him in more films. I think he was a natural as far as that goes. But yeah, this has been the great Hauntedween. Um, these credits are going to go on for a few more minutes. Any other thoughts, comments on this movie? Are you sorry that I picked it for a watch along? Uh, you know, any other thoughts on anything else that you thought of while we were watching this that you want to bring up? Because I could maybe stay on here till 8:30 ish or so, and then I'll probably, say sayonara for the night. Um, Take my shower or eat something and all that good stuff. But I am glad that Darren, you and Dirk have been pretty vocal about. Oh, Texas, I'm sorry couldn't find the link. Could you not find the link that I had under the advertising? I usually always try to put the YouTube link, if there is one, underneath where I announce it. So I'm sorry that you couldn't find the link, but perhaps you can do this watch along later, because I mean I'm gonna obviously leave it up on YouTube, and maybe when you do find it you can. Well, dang. Maybe I need to start putting it in the chat. How about I do that next time? Um, and you can help remind me the next time I do a watch along that if there's like a YouTube link, then I can always put it in the chat, and maybe you can click on it that way. Um, was there anybody else that couldn't find the link where I put it in the comment under the main thing for it? Because like I said, I always put it in a comment under the main advertisement. I just put it like when people make comments under it. That's what I do, and put the link in there. Um, okay, Texas, I'll keep that in mind. But I do, anytime that's the case, you guys let me know. And like I said, I'll be glad to, there's alternative ways that I can do that. I'm sorry, Texas. I'm sorry I didn't. You might have said that earlier. Hey, I can't find the link. Maybe I missed that when you said that. I do apologize. Um, or I could do it both ways. I could put it in the chat, and I could also maybe put it in the links for when you click on the main link to get to the YouTube thing, then I could have the link for the actual movie as well. Durkee say, yeah, I'd watch it again for sure. Dane, do you like crime, neo noir films like Thief? Well, to be honest, Dirk, I don't know how many of those or if I've seen any of those. I've definitely not seen Thief. I'll ask Steve about it. He might have some crime neo noir films, and then maybe I can watch some of those. Texas, you say it's okay. You'd already started. I hate that, Texas. I'll try to do better next time. The next watch along that I have. Um, Actually, I think the next watch along we'll be having, I believe, is going to be for Slaughter High, and that, of course, will be in the first Sunday. Um, well, maybe I've got no. I guess Slaughter High will probably be our next watch along, and I will try to find a link for that on YouTube. Hopefully, I can. But that one will be on a Sunday instead of a Saturday because the first weekend of every month we're gonna do them on Sundays. Darren, you say Slaughter High, awesome. And then I'll try to pick some movies to do watch-alongs with for the remaining Saturdays of the month of September. All except I'm not sure that I'll be able to do one like the second Saturday of September because I think Steve and I are planning on going to Horror Hound, and I guess it'll depend on how tired I am after Horror Hound if I do one or not, or if I have enough time to plan for one. So yeah, Darren, you can definitely look forward to Slaughter High next. I think we've got films booked up until probably January of, at least on Sundays, January of next year. Um, but, if you guys want to throw some more ideas my way for ones that you might want me to do on the Saturday streams, I would be willing to take suggestions on those. Texas, you say return to horror. You should do that sometime. Return to Horror High or Horror High. Yeah, Return to Horror High I could probably definitely do. I need to actually watch Horror High. Uh, but that could be a possibility as well. So you guys are really throwing some good ones out there. I mean, I really mean that. I don't think we've done one for final exam either, which, or have I done one for final exam? Have I done one for final exam and I just forgot about it? Evil Laugh, Darren. Yes, don't let me forget that one because we definitely want to work Evil Laugh in there. Um, Dirk, you say Rush is another one with Jennifer Jason Lee, Jason Patrick, and Sam Elliott. Yeah, I need to watch that one. I don't know if I've watched that one or not. Dirk, say a neo noir, not for the watch along. Gotcha. Maybe if I watch enough of these neo noirs, I can do just a stream on that. Maybe. But y'all pray for me if I'm going to go through all these faces of death and all the traces of death that I can find. Ooh, I don't know exactly when those are going to be, but they'll be forthcoming. Um, I got a couple more minutes here. If y'all got any final comments or suggestions, or you just want to tell me to get the hell off here so you can go do something else. I know Dirk's probably going to want to prepare for his stream coming up. I wouldn't be against some old Hammer horror, Dirk. I definitely would not. Now, are you talking for watch-alongs or just themes for just regular streams? Because I wouldn't be against it for either one. So I got probably about 30, 45 seconds left. But I do, before I get off here, I want to, or Christopher Lee films, I would not be against that either. Um, Frightmare from Pete Walker. I like Frightmare, but I really like um, Schizo. Um, I really think that one's a good one as well. Um, but I did want to thank everybody before I do get off here for stopping by and hanging out with me for almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. Um, and I hope everybody did enjoy this. Again, I'm sorry, Texas, about you not being able to find the link. But I'm going to try to resolve that for next time. Um, we might very well do Evil Laugh the following or if I do one that following Saturday, we'll do it then. Or if I don't do it the Saturday that I go to Horror Hound, the following Saturday, we could always do Evil Laugh, but I'll advertise it. Um, but it is now 8:30. Um, Darky said Dreamscape would be a good watch along. Yep, that would. Texas, you say no worries, still had fun. Darren, you say have a good one, everyone. Oh, Death Warmed Up. Yep. Death Warmed Up wasn't actually what I thought it was going to be, but I mean, it's not a bad little film either. So, with that being said, guys, thank you once again for stopping by and hanging out while we did this. I said evil laugh, Hauntedween watch along. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. But on that note, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here, and I will see everyone on the flip side. You guys have a good night.